Hey guys, welcome back. Now, in this video, I'm going to be answering one of the most important questions for all crypto investors. How high is the crypto market going to be going in the next cycle, and when should we sell? Obviously, incredibly important questions, and this video is probably one of the most important I will make all year. And so by the end, we will cover how high I think this is going in the next cycle, and then my personal sell point of when I plan to exit the crypto market and take profits. Now, the content for this video I've been working on in the background for the past few months. So you could say this video has taken almost 3 months to prepare. And it's built around one key principle: reference points. What are reference points? Well, for example, asset allocation is probably the single most important thing any investor can do. And how do we know what to do with our own money? Well, if we study several different investors, large and small, then we will have enough reference points to know what to do with our own money. And so, to answer the question, how high is this thing going and when should I sell? I'll be sharing 5 reference points that I've built up over the past few months, which has now given me my personal sell point of when to take profits. And so, without further ado, let's walk through these 5 reference points and then we'll bring it all together at the end. And so, my first reference point is coming from Raoul Pal, as Raoul Pal is one of the thought leaders in this space, and it's not saying we should absolutely copy, it's just to use him as one reference point of many. And in several of his interviews, he did mention that he thinks next time crypto will be going 3 times higher than it previously did. So it peaked out at about a $3 trillion market cap, and he thinks in the next cycle it's going to be going to about 10 trillion. And this gives us our first Bitcoin price target of $200,000. And personally, I always use Bitcoin as a proxy, kind of like the index for the crypto market, as trying to use altcoins is pretty much impossible. So we have our first reference point, it puts something on the map, and we have a Bitcoin price of $200,000. On to reference point number 2. And this next one comes from one of my favorite charts, and this is the cycle bottom. And regular viewers will know that I love this chart as it clearly shows the different cycles that we've seen in crypto. This was cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3. Then when it comes crashing down into the crypto winters, and it's based all around the halving event which happens here. And it's called the cycle bottom as it measures right from the bottom to the very, very top, the multiple that you would have gotten. So from bottom to top, the very, very first cycle, if you would have bought Bitcoin right from the start, you would have had over a 200x. Now, obviously, when Bitcoin's only $1, it's very easy to get multiples of $1. So as the cycles go on and more money comes into this space, you're going to get diminishing returns. So cycle 1 was over 200%. Cycle 2 then came down to just over 100%. So that is a big drop. But then the cycle that's just gone, this was a massive drop. So this went from 100x, and in the last cycle, we got from bottom to top a 20x. So now we can make a reasonable prediction of where the peak is going to be in the next cycle. And I think a reasonable, from the very bottom, it's probably going to spend a lot of time around this 5x. And as we get these big blow off tops, I think it's probably going to get up to about a 10x. So again, half the previous cycle. And then what would this mean? So using the cycle bottom chart, if we say that from bottom to top, Bitcoin's going to do a 10x. We get another price, and that is 150,000. And I personally think this is going to be very, very close. And if I had to be a gambling man and bet, I would say this is probably going to be the figure. And you'll notice that people really like round numbers, and I think it's just going to blow past 100,000 next time. I think 100,000, you're going to see a lot of volatility, people buying and selling, but I think it's going to break through 100,000, and so the next big round number that people are going to chase is going to be this one. On to reference point number 3. Now this time I created a lower risk option to the first one. So if the first one was that the market is going to be 3 times higher, if we wanted to give ourselves a buffer, take less risk, then saying a 2 times high from the previous would give a very good lower risk option, and that would give us a price target of 138,000. Now this is very interesting because if it does chase up to 150, this could be a perfect exit point as you get out almost at the perfect time instead of trying to take the risk of hitting the 150. So I think this gives a very interesting price target, and being 2 times the previous high, there's going to be a lot of people looking and keeping an eye on this figure. Number 4. And this time, this one comes from Plan B, the creator of the stock to flow model. And when it comes to investing in Bitcoin or crypto, there's different ways we can do it. You can just buy at the very beginning and then just hold on the entire time. You could dollar cost average and be buying in every week or every month over the years, and then you'd end up with a certain figure. You can try and time the market. Incredibly difficult to do. Well, Plan B went back and crunched the numbers, and he found out the very best thing you could do would be to buy Bitcoin 6 months before the halving and then sell it 18 months after the halving. And historically, so far in the different cycles, this is the formula of how you make the most money. You'd beat all the people who just buy and hold. You'd beat all the people who just dollar cost average. So this is a very interesting reference point. And this means 6 months before the next halving, that would be November this year, coming up in a couple of months. And then instead of being a 5x or 10x or 20x, this is a time-based model. And the key date you'd be looking for would be October 2025. This now gives us a reference point of where the cycle top would be if it follows previous cycles. So a very important date to keep an eye on. And if it were to get to this date, but Bitcoin still hadn't done what you hoped it would have done, you can use this time-based model instead and exit the crypto market. A very good, useful, and unique reference point from Plan B. And then finally, number 5, and this time again it's a different type of target. This would be a monetary target. So forgetting again time-based, forgetting again whether it does a 5x, 10x, 20x. This time, whatever you have invested, let's say you've invested $10,000. If your account were to hit $100,000, you would just sell. Or if you've put in more money, it could be 500,000 or $1 million, and it all depends as everybody has invested different amounts. But what the great benefit of this one is, if you just invest in Bitcoin, then this probably wouldn't be the right strategy. But if you do have several different altcoins, this is very, very useful because Bitcoin may not do what we think it's going to do. But then you may have an altcoin let's say like Solana, which in the last cycle did a 100x. So one of your altcoins could just absolutely moon. You get 100x and your price target gets hit. And this way you can just sell up. You know you've won the game. Because if you hold on and you wait for Bitcoin to get to where it's going to go, and then in the meantime, your 100x has come all the way back down to a 10x, you'll have missed out on taking profits. So a monetary target is also very, very useful. And now we have our 5 reference points. Let's bring this all together. And this is what has given me my personal sell target. And it looks like this. So I would say if you just hold your crypto until Bitcoin gets back to its all-time high, I would classify this as low risk. I think you'd be getting out early, but for all the people that just don't want to take the risk, want to make sure they're banking profits, this would be a good option. Then once it breaks 100k, I would say you're moving now into medium risk territory. My personal sell target is going to be around 125k. And subject to change, as this is still work in progress, as even though I think it's going to be pushing for 150, my aim is to get out a bit early. I've been through 2 crypto winters, and although I love seeing my money go up 10 times and then lose 80% of it, my plan is not to be participating in the next one. So once you go past that into 130, 150, I personally think you're taking high risk. And if you want to try and chase the 200k, I'd say this is super high risk. And there'll be people that think we're going into a super cycle where we won't get a crash again. And although you could be correct, are you going to bet the farm that that is going to happen? I would just say that it's very, very high risk. And there'll also be people that just don't plan on selling for the next 10 years. And that's absolutely fine. If you just want to hold on, then just bear in mind that you may have to go through another massive run up, another massive crash before it all comes back. But if that's what you want to do, that's absolutely fine. And then I'll also be utilizing and keeping an eye on this time-based target, October 2025. So I think 2024 is going to be a big year for crypto. 2025 is going to be a big year for crypto, but if it gets close to this point, this is a warning sign for me. And then I'll also have my monetary target. And this will depend on how much money I actually have in crypto. As if crypto falls over the coming months, I'll be buying more in, which means my dollar target is going to change. So once Bitcoin breaks above 40k, 50k, I'll know it's game on and I can set an official price target based on what I have. So for me, this is one of the most important parts in crypto, and I hope you found it useful. And so, as mentioned, this is something I've been working on in the background for the past few months, and it's when to exit the crypto market and take profits. Now, for anyone interested, my personal plan is to buy a house outright with no mortgage and have a few $100,000 in an S&P 500 index fund, and have the option to sell 5% a year whenever I want for a lifetime of income. And I'll probably begin buying back into crypto after the next 50% drop in Bitcoin, and hopefully by then there'll be a nice crypto index fund by someone like Vanguard or Fidelity. And so my personal sell target is a Bitcoin price of around $125,000 subject to change. And this is a 400% gain from today's price, and likely much more for my altcoins. And I'll also set a monetary target and a time-based target as well. And then when any one of these gets triggered, I'll be out. And I totally get I'm probably going to be a bit early this time, and that's fine by me, as I will have won the game. And that is the whole point, right? So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Now let me know what you think about these personal price targets. Let me know in the comments below. But just remember, to get rid of 100% of the comment spam and trading bots, we're now using the SuperThanks commenting system. So to make sure to get your comment read and replied to, or just to say thanks, then use SuperThanks below. And for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.